Welcome back. We're truly grateful you're here. Not just watching, but walking this journey with us. Every like, every share, every thoughtful comment, they help us bring the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy to more people who need it. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you. Now, let's talk about something that can quietly damage your peace, drain your energy, and shake your trust in ways you never expected. Fake friends. They smile at you. They act like they care. But deep down, their interest isn't in you. It's in what you can do for them. These are the people who take without giving, who show up when it benefits them, who leave you emotionally exhausted, wondering why you're the one always giving more than you get. You might have noticed it already. That subtle feeling that something isn't right. Maybe it's a shift in their tone, a backhanded comment, or a strange distance you can't explain. You're not imagining it. In this video, we'll explore 7 specific behaviors that only fake friends do. These are signs you can't afford to ignore. By the end, you'll know how to spot them, how to protect your energy, and how to make space for the real connections that truly nourish your life. Let's unmask the fakes. Starting now. 1. They talk about you behind your back. Few things hurt more than realizing someone you trusted has been speaking badly about you when you're not around. And yet, this is one of the most common behaviors of a fake friend. Rumors don't start by accident. They begin when trust is broken. Words get twisted, truths get bent, and before you know it, your name is being passed around like gossip fuel. Let's talk about Kevin. Kevin thought he had a solid friendship with Jake. They went to the gym together, hung out on weekends, and confided in each other about everything. But over time, Kevin started hearing things. Strange little remarks. At first, it was harmless stuff like, "Kevin's always running late." But soon it turned into, "Kevin's not reliable. He doesn't take responsibility for anything." The worst part? These comments were coming from Jake, but always when Kevin wasn't there. It wasn't about truth, it was about ego. Jake felt the need to elevate himself by putting Kevin down. This kind of betrayal reveals the truth. A fake friend doesn't care about your reputation. They care about control. They crave attention, and they'll risk your trust to get it. So what do we do with this kind of betrayal? Marcus Aurelius offers clarity. Keep your mind calm, even when you hear something unfavorable about yourself. It doesn't harm you unless you let it. This is the core of Stoic wisdom. We can't control what others say. We can't stop rumors from spreading, but we can choose how we respond. With calm, with clarity, and with integrity. Fake friends try to provoke you. They want you to react. But when you remain composed, they lose their power over you. Here's how to protect yourself. First, set boundaries. If you know someone is speaking behind your back, confront them, respectfully, but firmly. You might say, "I've been hearing things that concern me. Can we talk about it directly?" A real friend will be willing to have that conversation. A fake one will avoid it. Second, surround yourself with people who honor your name, even when you're not around. Those are the ones who respect you not just to your face, but in your absence. And that's what real loyalty looks like. Finally, don't play their game. Don't retaliate. Don't spread your own rumors. That's not the Stoic way. Choose the high ground. Protect your character. Let your actions speak louder than their words. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. If someone talks about you behind your back, they're not a friend. They're a lesson, a gift in disguise. They show you who they truly are so you can decide who truly deserves space in your life. And this is just the beginning. So we've seen how fake friends can quietly sabotage your trust by speaking behind your back. That kind of betrayal is subtle, like a knife slipped between your ribs when you weren't looking. But sometimes their disloyalty is loud, obvious, and cuts even deeper. 2. They throw you under the bus when things go wrong. When life is smooth, everyone wants to be your friend. But when storms hit, when pressure builds, mistakes happen, or accountability is demanded, that's when the masks fall off. And suddenly you see who's standing beside you and who's stepping on your back to lift themselves up. A true friend won't run when things get messy. They'll stand by you, defend your name, share the weight of the problem, even when it's uncomfortable. But fake friends? They'll throw you under the bus the moment it benefits them. Why? Because to them, your trust is expendable. Your loyalty means nothing if it threatens their own comfort. Let me tell you the story of Daniel. Daniel worked at a small company. He wasn't flashy or loud, just a solid, dependable guy. He always stayed late to help colleagues finish tasks. When someone was overwhelmed, he stepped in. When deadlines loomed, Daniel showed up early, stayed calm, and made sure the team stayed on track. He believed in supporting people, but one day, a major project started falling apart. A miscommunication had caused a delay, and the boss, visibly upset, demanded to know who was responsible. What happened next stunned Daniel. A colleague he had helped countless times, someone he thought was a friend, didn't hesitate to speak up. It was Daniel's oversight. Just like that, he was blamed. It wasn't true. Daniel hadn't made the mistake. In fact, he had actually warned the team about that very issue earlier. But now, under pressure, this so-called friend was using Daniel as a shield, deflecting blame and protecting themselves. Worse still, they used the moment to win favor with the boss, talking confidently, even suggesting they had tried to fix Daniel's errors. Daniel sat in silence, betrayed and confused, not because of the project, but because someone he had trusted had chosen self-preservation over integrity. Now here's the Stoic truth. You can't control what others do. Their choices reflect their values, not yours. What you can control and must control is your response. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, let people do what they will. Your job is to remain calm and unmoved. It's hard, isn't it? When betrayal is staring you in the face, the instinct is to fight back, to scream for justice. But the Stoic path calls for something far more powerful: inner stillness. Let them show their character. Let them reveal their true priorities. Meanwhile, you remain rooted, calm, observing, learning. So how do you deal with people who betray you in moments of crisis? First, observe. Fake friends don't hide forever. They show themselves over time. They're visible in patterns, in how they act when no one's watching, or when trouble arrives. If someone is quick to shift blame onto you, that's not a one-time accident. That's who they are. Second, set clear boundaries. Don't let their betrayal go unchecked. You don't need to shout or retaliate, but you do need to protect your dignity. Speak directly. Say something like, I noticed you blamed me for that mistake. I want to clarify what really happened. A real friend will acknowledge the truth. A fake one will get defensive, maybe even try to twist the story further. And that's your signal. Walk away. Third, don't let their betrayal poison your spirit. Don't let it make you bitter or afraid to trust again. Let it make you wiser. Let it teach you to be discerning. As the Stoics teach, every challenge is an opportunity for growth. People who throw you under the bus are not a loss. They're a revelation, a moment of clarity. They show you who is not worth your time, your trust, or your loyalty. You deserve to be surrounded by people who won't abandon you in a storm. Real friendship isn't measured when everything's perfect. It's revealed when everything falls apart. Loyalty, trust, integrity. These are not luxuries. They're the foundation of a meaningful life. Protect your peace. Walk away from those who prove they wouldn't do the same for you. And never apologize for choosing yourself. Now, some betrayals are loud, like public blame, but others are quieter, more subtle. like the friend who never shows up when it matters. Let's talk about that next. 3. They constantly cancel on you. We've talked about how fake friends will abandon you when things go wrong. But sometimes they don't wait for a crisis. They slowly chip away at your trust with broken promises and constant cancellations. Have you ever made plans? Maybe even gone out of your way to create a memorable moment, only to be left waiting again and again? It's a quiet kind of betrayal, one that doesn't come with a loud argument or a dramatic scene. Just silence, an empty space where someone should have shown up. Let me share a personal story. I once organized a weekend camping trip with a few close friends. I put a lot of heart into it, picked the perfect spot near a quiet river, packed enough food for everyone, and even rented a larger tent to make sure we'd all be comfortable. I wanted to create something special, not just for myself, but for all of us. Throughout the week, I messaged everyone with updates. I reminded them about what to bring, checked the weather forecast, even shared some photos of the location to build excitement. And every single person responded the same way. "Don't worry, I'll be there." That sounds amazing. Wouldn't miss it for the world. I felt confident, excited even. But then the morning of the trip arrived, and the messages started coming in. One friend texted, "Sorry, just remembered I have a work meeting I can't skip." Another said they weren't feeling well, and one just casually admitted they decided last minute to go to a party instead. I stood there with all the gear packed, the food prepared, the tent loaded into my car, and no one to share it with. What should have been a joyful escape into nature became a long, quiet drive home. I spent the weekend not in the forest under the stars, but in silence, reflecting on what had just happened. As painful as that experience was, it taught me something valuable, something the Stoics understood deeply. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it doesn't belong to you, don't let it occupy your mind." That weekend wasn't just ruined because my friends canceled. It was ruined because I let my peace be tied to their actions. I expected more than they were willing or able to give, and that expectation created the pain. The truth is, fake friends don't just fail to show up physically. They fail to show up emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And the cancellations, that's just the surface. So how do you deal with friends who constantly flake on you? First, observe. Notice who actually values your time. A true friend won't make a habit of letting you down. Yes, life happens, emergencies arise. But if someone always has an excuse, it's not about bad timing. It's about misplaced priorities. After that camping trip, I began paying attention. I noticed which friends only showed up when it was convenient for them, when they had nothing better to do. I saw which ones disappeared when something more exciting came along. And I realized that the disappointment I felt wasn't because of one canceled trip. It was because I had been investing in relationships that weren't real. Second, set boundaries. This was tough for me because I always tried to give people the benefit of the doubt. But I had to learn to stop over-investing in people who didn't treat my time with the same respect. If someone can't commit to plans, then I won't overextend myself for them. My energy, my time, my effort, these are precious, and I choose to spend them on people who value them. Surround yourself with friends who show up, not just physically, but emotionally. Friends who honor your efforts, respect your time, and follow through on their word. Because in the end, real friendship isn't about big gestures. It's about consistency. Friendship is built on 3 quiet foundations: balance, sincerity, and trust. If those aren't present, what you have isn't a friendship. It's an arrangement, and you deserve more than that. Sometimes fake friends don't just cancel on you, they leave you out completely. You're not just the last to know. Sometimes you're not told at all. Let's talk about what it means to be excluded. 4. They exclude you from their plans. We just talked about friends who always cancel at the last minute. But there's another kind of disappointment that's even harder to swallow. The kind where you were never invited in the first place. Have you ever felt like the forgotten one? You're always the one reaching out, planning gatherings, trying to stay connected. But then, out of nowhere, you see photos on social media, your friends laughing, having fun, and clearly, without you. I've been there. A group of friends I used to be really close with planned a weekend beach trip. I didn't hear a word about it until I saw the pictures online. They were all smiles, enjoying the sun and sand. I recognized every face in those photos except mine. What made it worse was that just days before, I had invited those same friends over to my place. I cooked, cleaned, prepared everything to make them feel welcome. They showed up, enjoyed themselves, but not a single person mentioned their upcoming trip. Not one. I didn't just feel excluded. I started to wonder, was I ever really part of this group to begin with? Moments like this bring to mind the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. Don't let what you can't control take hold of your mind. I couldn't control whether they invited me, but I could control how I responded. Instead of being bitter or hurt, I stepped back and looked at the relationship for what it really was. If people don't think to include you, it's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of where you truly stand in their lives. So how do you handle being left out? First, ask yourself if you're investing too much into a one-sided relationship. If you're always the one initiating, always the one giving, and never truly being considered, it might be time to step back. Second, start looking for people who genuinely want you in their lives. The ones who invite you, include you, and make you feel like you matter. Not out of convenience, but out of true connection. And finally, value yourself. Being excluded doesn't mean you're not enough. It just means it's time to redirect your time and energy toward relationships that are real. True friendship isn't about trying to earn a seat at someone's table. It's about being welcomed without having to ask. You deserve that, and when you stop chasing the wrong people, the right ones will find you, and they'll be glad to have you by their side. 5. They only call when they need a favor. Sound familiar? You get a message or a call from someone you haven't heard from in ages. At first, you're excited. They say, "Hey, it's been a while. How are you?" You smile, thinking maybe they just want to reconnect. But within minutes, the real reason surfaces. "I need a favor. Can you help me out?" Yep, classic fake friend behavior. Let me tell you what happened to me. An old friend who hadn't spoken to me in over a year suddenly called out of nowhere. I was hopeful. Maybe he wanted to catch up, rebuild the bond we once had. We chatted briefly, and then came the real reason. "I've got a big presentation at work, and you're great at this kind of thing. Could you help me write it?" I agreed. Spent the whole evening helping him, brainstorming, editing, making sure every word was perfect. He said a quick thanks and disappeared. Again, a full year passed before I heard from him, and yes, it was another favor. That's when it hit me. I wasn't a friend to him. I was just a solution, a convenient tool for when things got tough. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, don't let others invade your mind with what doesn't belong to you. Someone else's selfishness doesn't define your value. It simply reveals the true nature of that relationship. If someone only reaches out when they need something, that's not friendship. That's exploitation. So how do you deal with people like this? First, observe the pattern. If someone only contacts you when they need help, that's a big red flag. True friends check in when things are good and when things are bad, not just when they're desperate. Second, set clear boundaries. Your time, energy, and skills are valuable. Not every request deserves a yes. If you feel used, don't be afraid to say no, firmly but kindly. And finally, cherish your real friends, the ones who show up for you, not just for favors, the ones who offer help, not just take it. Don't let your kindness become a weakness. Friendship isn't a transaction, it's a bond built on respect, trust, and mutual care. Protect your time, protect your peace, and remember, the right people will never make you question your worth. 6. They give backhanded compliments. Have you ever heard something like this? Wow, you actually did really well today. I'm surprised. You look so much better than usual. It sounds like a compliment, but something doesn't sit right. That's because it isn't a real compliment. It's what we call a backhanded compliment, a subtle jab disguised as praise. And fake friends are masters at using them. On the surface, they seem harmless, maybe even playful, but underneath, they're meant to undermine you. It's a quiet way of saying, I didn't think you were good enough. Let me give you an example. Imagine you've just finished an important presentation at work, something you poured your heart into for weeks. You nailed it, you feel proud, confident. Then a coworker, someone you thought supported you, walks over and says, I honestly didn't think you could pull that off, but good for you. You smile, maybe even thank them. But later, the words replay in your mind. Wait, they didn't think I could do it? Instead of celebrating your success, they made it sound like your achievement was unexpected, almost like it didn't belong to you. That's the danger of backhanded compliments. They give you just enough sugar to hide the poison. Marcus Aurelius said, if someone thinks poorly of you, remember, that's their opinion, not yours. Backhanded compliments don't define your worth. They reveal something about the person giving them, usually jealousy, insecurity, or a need to feel superior. Stoic philosophy teaches us to anchor our value in our own actions, not in others' opinions. So how do you respond to someone who masks criticism as praise? First, recognize it for what it is. A real compliment makes you feel appreciated, not uncertain. If you walk away from someone's words feeling smaller, that's not a compliment. Second, trust yourself. You don't need anyone's permission to feel proud of your success. You earned it. Don't let someone else's insecurity shrink your confidence. Third, reevaluate the relationship. A true friend uplifts you. They celebrate your wins with honesty and joy, not jealousy dressed up as humor. If someone frequently uses backhanded compliments, they may not be a safe person to keep close. Surround yourself with people who celebrate your growth, not question it. Friendship should be a place of encouragement, not quiet sabotage. You deserve support, not disguised criticism. With the clarity of Stoic wisdom, you'll begin to see through false praise and stand tall in your truth. 7. They only talk about themselves. Have you ever felt like just an audience member in your own conversation? You sit down with a friend, hoping for a real connection, and instead, they launch into a monologue. Their work troubles, their family drama, their latest frustrations. You listen, you nod, you offer advice. But when it's your turn to speak, they cut you off, change the subject, or simply stop listening. This is exactly what happened to Sarah. Sarah had a friend named Emily who expected her to always listen and support her. Every time they met, Emily would immediately dive into her stress at work, ongoing family issues, even petty arguments with neighbors or colleagues. Sarah, being a kind and empathetic person, tried her best to be there for her, offering thoughtful responses, emotional support, and a listening ear. But every time Sarah attempted to open up, especially during moments when she really needed someone, Emily would quickly shift the conversation back to herself. There was one time Sarah tried to express how nervous she felt about transitioning to a new job. She barely got through a sentence before Emily gave a vague nod and said, You'll be fine. Then immediately launched into a long story about a project she was working on. That's when it hit Sarah. This friendship was completely one-sided. Emily wasn't really listening. She wasn't genuinely interested in Sarah's life or feelings. She only cared about having a sounding board for her own problems. Stoic philosophy reminds us that balance and respect are the cornerstones of any relationship. Marcus Aurelius once said, "We are not here only to live for ourselves, but to support and be supported." True friendship isn't just about presence, it's about mutual care. It's a relationship where both people feel heard, valued, and uplifted. When that balance is missing, the connection becomes draining instead of nourishing. So how do you recognize and deal with a one-sided friendship? First, pay attention to the signs. If you find yourself always playing the listener, never the speaker, that's a clear red flag. A healthy relationship doesn't demand perfection, but it does require effort from both sides. Second, try addressing it directly. Let your friend know that you need space to share, too. A real friend will acknowledge your feelings and make the effort to do better. But if they ignore you or brush it off, that tells you everything you need to know. Finally, accept the truth, even if it hurts. Realizing that someone doesn't truly care about your well-being can be heartbreaking. But staying in a relationship that constantly drains you is even more painful in the long run. Remember, you deserve friendships where you feel seen, heard, and respected, not ones that make you feel invisible. And there you have it, the 7 signs of a fake friend. Recognizing these red flags isn't always easy. It can be uncomfortable, even painful, but it's a necessary step if you want to protect your peace and create room for authentic, meaningful relationships in your life. Fake friends will test your patience, drain your energy, and make you question your worth. But here's the truth. Their behavior says more about them than it does about you. So imagine this: a life where your relationships are built on trust, mutual respect, and real connection. A life where you're not constantly navigating one-sided friendships, veiled insults, or emotional manipulation. That's what you deserve. And the best part, you have the power to make it happen. If you found value in today's video and the wisdom of Stoicism resonates with you, don't forget to hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences and insights could inspire others on their journey. Make sure to subscribe to Stoic Fantastic and ring the notification bell so you never miss a moment of guidance that will help you stay grounded, strong, and in control, no matter what life throws your way. Remember, true strength comes not just from enduring hardships, but from growing wiser with each challenge. Let's build a community where we support, learn, and thrive together. Because when you surround yourself with the right mindset and people, you don't just survive, you truly thrive. Join us and take the next step toward mastering your mind and living your best life with Stoic wisdom every day.